Hey everyone, welcome into Dom Time tonight with two great guests in studio tackling what the Boy Scouts are meeting on today, tomorrow, and deciding on Wednesday whether or not to change their policy, to liberalize it, if you will, and allow choice, although limited, for parents to determine do they want to be in a troop that accepts gays in that troop or not. Let's go to Sharon in Vineland. Sharon, welcome to Dom Time.
Thank you for having the program, and I'd like to just give my viewpoint that just came across. The gentleman we have tonight is representing Christianity values, and the woman is representing world values, as I understand it. And I did have a question I'd like to ask him, the gentleman, and he said he was molested as a child. Was he molested in Boy Scouts or church?
Neither. I was molested by a boy across the street.
My whole concept was that the physicality situation with homosexuality is a fact. It's a reality. I found it and studied it. And if he wants to get into the scientific question about that, that was on, I think it was TLC channel. They did a whole night of it, and I watched it. And as a 4-H'er, we raised animals, and there were some animals that weren't operating as they should operate. So it's a situation that is a reality, and it also can be an environmental situation. So when we know that's a reality, somewhere in the middle we need to meet and embrace that reality so we can join the two worlds in harmony. There's the Christian world and the world world.
Okay, well, Sharon,
so you
thank you.
have to figure out how to do that.
Thank you,
I'm glad
Sharon.
you're having this program.
Thank you very much. Thanks for calling in tonight. You can call in too. We'll take your calls here. Kim Otto, your son apparently came out at the age of 13.
That's correct.
Or was known and with the Scouts and then dropped out because of the value conflict over this. So this is the other aspect, I think, where there's going to be more difficulty to defend Greg's position. The gay Scoutmaster issue is one, but it's the older, some of these kids are 14, 15, or 16, when they come out or realize what they believe to be true about themselves. And that's where I think there's a good deal of compassion across the board on this. So talk about that part. You've testified on this, you've talked about it. There's any number of these kids that are Eagle Scouts by that point, or close to it.
Absolutely. And, you know, firstly, I have to say that Boy Scouts of America is an amazing organization. I was so thrilled. Both of my children, both of my sons were in Scouting, and, you know, they learned teamwork. They learned how to set and reach goals. They had the opportunity to learn leadership potential. I think that, as the caller said, this is, you know, now a world issue. The world is evolving. The world is evolving as we sit here and we speak. And there should not be a place for discrimination against these young boys. What they need is to be accepted, and they need to be just, you know, honored for the people that they are. The sexuality point has no place in Boy Scouts at all.
All right, let's go to Christine Flowers, who of course is a friend of mine and a great columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News, to join us on the line. Christine wrote a piece this Friday's Daily News where she writes every Friday. And Christine, your position is you feel the Scouts are being bullied into this.
Hi, Don. Yeah, I absolutely do. What I see is this false scenario where gay Scouts, gay boys, are being discriminated against. And that's a fallacy. This is being set up as some kind of discriminatory policy. What the Scouts have done from time immemorial is open their arms, open their hearts, open their doors to boys regardless of sexuality. Sexuality has no place, or sexual orientation has no place in the discussion.
Okay, Christine, I have your point.
Especially when we're dealing with young kids.
But here's a mom whose son comes out at 13, right, Kim, and knows that he's gay. What would your argument be? He's supposed to live a lie? That's what the difficulty is?
Well, that's exactly where the difficulty is.
No, that's not it at all. We are scripting this into something that it is not. We have an organization who has the right to choose what its membership is and what its principles to adhere to are. A person or a child at 13, and they are a child at 13, who has gender identity confusion and claims to be a homosexual for whatever those reasons
wait a minute.
might
Now,
be.
Greg and Mom, you can respond
Don,
here. You say,
Don, can I
go
say
ahead,
something?
Christine, then we'll go to the Mom.
Don,
Go ahead.
can I say something? This should not even be an issue, whether or not you're talking about gender identity confusion or sexuality.
Right.
This is not an issue. When my mother was a den mother, was a den mother for Cub Scouts for years, sexuality was not an issue. There was no discrimination against homosexual
Okay, is it sexuality?
boys, gay boys.
Okay,
There was no acceptance of
Christine,
heterosexuality.
Is
It's
it
irrelevant.
sexuality, or I think the argument, and Kim, I don't want to put words in your mouth, would be it's identity.
It is identity. It absolutely
I don't
is.
identify as a heterosexual. I identify as a human being, and my sexuality is not the primary criterion of my identity, especially at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11.
Why
It's
broadcast
not part
this?
of
Why
my
make
identity.
this the center of the universe with a 13-year-old? Kim, I'd ask you that.
It doesn't need to be. It absolutely doesn't need to be. And
But the Scouts accepted him.
they accepted him.
Right. So why then force a private organization to have to accept it if they don't want, if it's out there? I mean, aren't things working? It worked for him. He was fine in his
It
group.
worked for him.
Right.
How many others is it not working for?
Christine, that's right. If you're in Mississippi or Oklahoma, they might not be as enlightened as they are here.
Yeah, but the thing is this, Dom. You know, for example, in Philadelphia, and you know this
Sure.
better than I do, the LGBT community in Philadelphia has engaged in what I consider to be a crusade against the Scouts misusing the legal process, and they've been shot down at every single turn, and then they continue and continue and continue to go into court. So what they have not been able to accomplish through legal means, and they won't be able to accomplish it because of the Dale decision at the Supreme Court, they're trying to do it by, and I do call it bullying, by
Yes.
making sure, by pressuring the sponsors
Right.
to keep their money from, and you know, that's harming everybody. That's harming every single little boy, especially the inner city boys that are served by the Cradle of Liberty chapter. So, I mean, I don't get this whole thing about discrimination. This is an organization that is open to every single little boy who goes in there and says, I want to learn how to tie a square knot. I want to learn how to get an honor badge. I want to deal with
Christine,
stress.
as always, we'll read you this Friday. Thank you for joining us tonight on the TV side. Christine Flowers from the Philadelphia Daily News. Coming up, more with Greg Quinlan and Kim Otto. And we'll talk a little bit more and take your calls about what are some of the repercussions depending upon what the Scouts do. Is this a victory for anyone? That's straight ahead on Dom Time.